With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hello, this is Eleanor, and I want to tell you about a new podcast I think you'll love. Cat Skull is a visceral neo-noir thriller about violence, identity, and what happens when justice turns personal. Cat Skull is set in urban Singapore and follows the story of Ram, who has always felt invisible. He's searching for meaning in a city that moves too fast to care. When Ram's best friend ends up in trouble, Ram puts on a mask and takes matters into his own hands. But after that first night behind the mask, Ram discovers something more dangerous than revenge. It's the intoxicating pull of finally mattering. Cat Skull is adapted from Miley Yang Tae's award-winning novel and produced by Audacious Productions, the award-winning team known for DC High Volume, Batman, and Temujin. So please go check out Cat Skull wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Friday.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay, this week's joke is more of a riddle. What bites but has no pulse?
Actually, do you mind if we take a sharp left turn and talk about something else?
Sure. Leftward ho.
Someone on the radio said something about the sun going out forever in a month or so. But we all knew the end was near, nothing to be done from here. So I shake my head and off to bed I go.
Good afternoon, loyal audience. I'm Malik.
I'm Jamie.
And this is World Gone Wrong. We aim to cover all the emerging elements of our ever-changing world.
Nice bit of understatement there.
Thank you. And today we'll be talking about, well, I'm not actually sure I know.
I think I'm ready to talk about my drive.
Your zeal, your dedication, your determination.
Okay. My drive out here from Chicago to Colorado.
Oh.
It definitely wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Not just packing up and saying goodbye to everyone, or not, but also doing it in weather that could literally melt a spoon. This is the story of my acid trip. Get it? Because the acid rain?
No, I get it. I'm laughing on the inside. Chortling.
So it starts.
Guffawing.
Thank you, Malik. So it starts.
Deep giggles.
When the news first broke, at the beginning of this whole clusterfuck, it was just the werewolves and the rest of the night terrors.
It was a simpler time.
This was the night when all the cell towers went down.
Oh, I remember that. Do we know how they got them working again? There's probably a story there.
Maybe a future episode.
Right.
Our Wi-Fi was out, which was common enough pre-disaster, but without cell service, we were, The last thing we'd heard was that there had been reports of banshees in western Nebraska, and I could not get through to my dad. And I started thinking, when I was a kid, we watched this PSA in school about house fires, and it scared me so much that my parents ended up making a disaster plan with me. I would climb out of the window, crawl out on the roof, shimmy down the brick, and we'd all meet in the yard of the house across the street. The Whittiers.
Ooh, should we bleep that? If they still live there, we don't want to dox your dad.
No, they moved eventually. But they were always incredibly kind to me. I think maybe they wanted kids. Like their house, it wasn't just convenient. They would literally give me milk and homemade cookies sometimes. Like that was their vibe. So for years after that, whenever a situation started to feel like the end of the world, for the first COVID outbreak, that time someone stole my wallet, certain presidential election results, Dad would say all the usual caring things. And then he'd say, well, Jamie, let me know if you need to meet at the Whittiers.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I knew banshees had a scream that meant something very bad. But I could not remember what.
Yeah, you definitely asked me, and I was totally stuck because Irish folklore isn't my area. I had friends in my program who might have known, but no cell service, and I just kept thinking of that movie where I think they're a metaphor. Never saw it. I knew we didn't have a paper dictionary or an encyclopedia because who needs those in the age of everything being online? Like werewolves, why not spontaneous books?
Finally, I thought to check my D&D monster manual.
Really?
It was the only halfway relevant paper thing I owned. So I found Banshees, and it said that their whale, if you fail your saving throw, automatically drops your hit points down to 0.
0 sounds...
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not death, but the first step to it. And I thought, this is ridiculous. This is a game. It's fiction. But then I thought, Banshees even existing? That's supposed to be fiction. There was no way to know. There was no way to know at all. But if there was a chance it was that bad, I figured if the internet's down everywhere, I shouldn't fly. I don't even know if planes can fly without it at this point. So I knew I had to drive, but it was also a full moon. It was the second ever full moon that we were counting like that. So I packed all that night. I kind of packed. I left a lot of stuff behind.
Yeah, you did.
And then I basically climbed the walls until sunrise.
I think I came out of my room at 4 a.m.
Right, and I explained the situation.
You kind of explained the situation. I didn't know about the 0 hit points. That's terrifying.
I don't know why I didn't tell you. That would have clarified this whole...
Maybe you didn't feel like saying it out loud?
Yeah. So the sun rose. I grabbed my bags.
I was like, what are you going to listen to the whole way down there? Like, who knows if the radio will be working and your car's too old for a phone jack, plus cell phones are still down.
Right. I think I was a little short with you. It just seemed like such a small thing to worry about in the face of everything else. And you said, Jamie, do you really want to do this whole drive in silence? And then when I didn't say anything, you went and found your whole binder of CDs, which I'd given you shit about previously because you can stream all that stuff now. But you handed it over. And it felt like I still need to find a way to get it back to you.
No, you don't. I can stream it.
I was almost out the door and you said...
What? What did I say?
Hey, Jamie, granola bar for the road? And you stuffed it into my hands with some crumpled bills from your tips.
Yeah.
You were acting like it was just another road trip.
In retrospect, I can see why that would have pissed you off a little.
I wasn't mad. I was more... I didn't know how to feel. It was like all of my neurotransmitters were crowding around the door at once, but they were shoving each other out of the way, so nothing was coming through.
I thought you were mad.
No, sorry.
Okay, so that makes what I said next extra shitty. I was like, hey, just so you know, all your plants are gonna die.
It might have been all your fucking plants.
Yeah, I should not have said that. I mean, I didn't know everything, but I knew enough not to say that.
But I had this split second standing in the kitchen where I thought, maybe I should just take the orchid and the peace lily and probably the fiddle leaf, and then perspective kicked in.
I really am sorry about the plants thing. That was...
You'd just woken up, and neither of us were thinking clearly. So I loaded up my bags and your CDs and that goddamn granola bar in the car. And I remember there were these huge yellow clouds in the sky. And you were saying...
Oh, God, it's locusts. It's actual locusts. And you were like, oh, cheer up, Malik. It's probably just a tornado. And then you headed out into it.
I've driven this route before. It's a pretty straight shot on I-80. About 12 and a half hours, 2 days if you stop overnight in Omaha, which I knew I wasn't doing. For the first maybe hour, it was actually all right. Traffic wasn't that bad. Probably everyone with any sense was staying home. It was eerie, but I was definitely moving along. I had your music going. You had burned a CD in there labeled Party Super Mix 2, which I figured, highway driving, keep the energy up.
That's smart.
As with about half of your CDs, it was wall-to-wall show tunes. But I didn't know that yet.
Oh, right. Yeah, that sounds right.
And I remember He Had It Coming came on, you know.
Cell Block Tango. Sorry, continue.
And it started to sprinkle, and I thought, oh, good. It is just water. Well, this will be nice for the plants at least.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And by the time we'd gotten to Be Prepared from The Lion King, Malik, could you give us a little sample of Be Prepared, please?
Be prepared.
I started hearing this weird sound, almost like a sizzle, like cooking steak. It moved along with me. It was definitely connected to the car. I thought maybe there was something wrong with my engine. So I pulled into a gas station, a covered one, thankfully.
Okay.
And I climbed out of the car, and right there on the roof, I could see all these little silver dots. For a second, I didn't understand. And then I saw it was all the spots where the rain had started to wear off the paint. I knew for a fact that it'd been fine when I got in. That was when I started to worry.
That would be very worrying.
And I noticed that nobody was outside. So I turned on my radio, which was in fact working, and there was a news piece about acid rain. They were saying how rain is supposed to have a pH of between 5 and 5.5, but before various environmental reforms, that number, it could be more like 4. Mm-hmm. And that this rain was testing at a pH of between 1 and 2. That's worse than stomach acid. They definitely said that. I was just on the border of Illinois, and I was about 9.5 hours from my dad's place. I climbed out, and I looked at the roof of my car, and I thought, this car might not make it. But I had to, because there were banshees in western Nebraska.
Girl, what did you do?
Well, first I washed my car.
Well, that makes sense.
Even more paint flaked off of it, which was not a great feeling, but I had an umbrella in the back. So I grabbed the umbrella and I ran into the station, like that little convenience store. And first of all, I grabbed a lot of food because this was clearly not a trip where I could afford to make stops to really eat. Then I started thinking about acid and how to neutralize it. And chemistry has always been my least favorite science. It's too precise. But I remembered watching you make banana bread one night when you were waiting to hear back about funding.
Yes, the more stressed I am, the better we eat. Weird true fact about me.
Yes, and I remembered you saying it was the same principle as a baking soda volcano.
Baking soda. Baking soda is basic.
Right, except they didn't have baking soda because this was a gas station.
Oh, yeah.
But they did have pancake mix. Bisquick. It was like that yellow box. And I thought, this certainly contains baking soda. So I bought snacks, a few bottles of milk. I was pretty sure that was basic too. Some Bisquick and tinfoil to fortify the umbrella, which was already starting to melt in places. And then when I went to pay, the person working the till gave me a free hot dog. They didn't say a word, just plopped it on a paper napkin and slid it across the counter. And when I said I hadn't paid for it, they just shook their head and slid it a few inches closer to me. That stuck with me. I don't know why.
I wonder what that was about.
I guess maybe they felt like so few people are coming in, we'll have to throw these all away. But I'm still...
Pretty wild to be working register in the middle of all that. Maybe they were rebelling.
Against who?
Against everything. The fact that the sky was spitting out actual poison and the world made no sense and they were stuck in a gas station and nobody thought to call them. Tell them they didn't have to come in to work that day. The planet is on fire. Here, have a hot dog at least.
Weird way for that to manifest, though.
Isn't the real acid rain the capitalism we met along the way?
Okay. It's such a small gesture, but if the alternative is no gesture, it's nice.
I'd like to think that's what I would do. Something like that. I hope they didn't lose their job.
Assuming that gas station is still standing.
Oh, no.
I tipped them like a 5 you gave me from your tips, so odd gesture on both our parts. I drove maybe an hour, stopped at the next covered gas station I could find, washed the car again, and then I poured milk and a box of pancake mix on the top of my car.
Ew.
I sort of mixed it into a thin paste using the handle of the car wash squeegee, hoping it would counteract the acid for like, I don't know, at least a few minutes. And then I pulled onto the highway, and that's when the trip got tricky.
Sorry, that's when?
By then, the few people that were on the road were driving way above the speed limit, which, you know, the rain had probably damaged the traffic cameras. And even if there had been police, I didn't see any. It's not like they would have climbed out of their cars to hand over the ticket. Plus, obviously, being out in that, even in a vehicle, was a risk. Every now and then, a car or a truck would absolutely streak by me, but moving with the flow of traffic meant going about 90.
And now you are doing that with pancake batter flowing down your rear windshield.
Wouldn't it have needed eggs to like be a viable batter?
Uh-huh.
No, you're right though. It was more pancake batter than like anything else. I had the wipers going at max speed, only, of course, they'd already been out in the rain and some of the rubber had worn away, so they were leaving massive streaks on both of my windshields. So I had acid rain pummeling the windshield ahead of me. I had these huge arcs of batter splashed across the glass behind me and trying to see through it while concentrating on driving 20 miles per hour faster than I'd ever driven before and dodging the odd car or truck going way beyond that.
Yikes. Yeah, congratulations on still being alive.
And then I'd put in a different CD by then. It was labeled, I think, Party Mix 4. And after Mary J. Blige, the main song from the Phantom of the Opera started playing.
Oh, God.
So then I'm driving, dodging, squinting at the rearview mirror, hoping my car will hold out until I can get to Colorado where my dad might be in serious trouble. And the CD player is just blasting. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun. Oh, sorry. Well, at least it wasn't Don't Rain on My Parade. Come on, that would have been worse.
I'm not done with my story yet.
And at least your stomach was fortified by a hot dog.
Realistically, I think I had about a 50-50 chance of a touching reunion with that hot dog.
But at least you had
You
something.
don't need to find the bright spot in this part of the story.
Oh, sorry.
It was bad. You can just let it be bad.
I wasn't trying to, minimize what you went through. Maybe I was. It's hard to hear about you in this kind of, distress.
Hey, I made it.
Spoilers.
Did you think my ghost had been co-hosting this show?
Or your pod person. Too soon.
By a mile.
Yeah, I heard myself say it and thought, oh no. So, on a different note.
Eventually, after what felt like hours of squinting at my mirrors, the car ran out of pancake batter, which seems like it could be good news, except it was around that time, somewhere in Nebraska.
Banshee country.
Yeah, exactly. And I started to think, the rain's gotten louder.
It was raining even harder? Acid downpour?
Worse.
Worse? How is it? Was there a grizzly bear in the car with you? Snakes in the trunk?
And then one song ended, and before the next one started, to my right, I heard this dripping. And then a hiss of acid rain hitting the passenger seat.
Oh God, the car roof was giving out.
The car roof was giving out. And it was only a matter of chance that the hole wasn't directly over my head yet. And Malik, I swear to you, on any book you want to name, that right then is when that mix CD switched to Les Miserables, specifically A Little Fall of Rain.
No. Wait, I forgot. How does that go?
A little fall of rain. I know it's not the point of my story, but if I can stall for a second, what was the song where Eponine dies doing on a party mix?
Well, this was before I got an MP3 player, so I would have been in middle school or early high school. Kid Malik had some strong feelings and strong ideas about what a party should be like.
Did you picture everyone sitting around crying?
Well, I thought, we could support each other through it. So wait, okay. Holy shit. The hole in your roof, what did you do?
I turned off the CD player.
And then?
I went to commercial break.
Are you kidding me?
See you on the other side.
Hey, I'm Arnie Niekamp from the fully improvised comedy podcast Hello from the Magic Tavern. I'm here with my co-hosts, Chunt the Talking Badger,
Bing Bong,
and Usador the Wizard.
I greet thee, listeners.
Look, I'm trapped in the magical land of Foon, so I started a podcast interviewing elves, unicorns, and other weirdos. We have great guests like Felicia Day, Jason Mantzoukas, Brennan Lee Mulligan, Amy Mann, and so many more.
Oh, and I think one time we interviewed a sentient shoe? I hope it was sentient.
Not to mention the evil people we've had to interview. How I hate evil.
Join us as we bar crawl across the magical land of Foon.
Looking for adventure.
Getting caught up in escapades.
Hello from the Magic Tavern is available right now on your favorite podcast app and ad-free and with lots of bonus content on Patreon. Subscribe to Hello from the Magic Tavern today.
Where were we?
You were leaving us hanging at an extremely rude cutoff point. The passenger seat?
Right. I want to back up at this point and say that I wasn't thinking clearly. That's pretty obvious. Even choosing pancake mix as my base, I looked it up later, much later, and water with detergent is also basic. I could have mixed up some suds and spent that time peering through bubbles instead of wet flour.
Yeah, I don't think any jury would convict you.
But the reason I want to put that disclaimer here specifically is what I did next.
Which is?
I took the nearest exit.
Why? At least on the highway, you had speed on your side?
I just said I wasn't thinking clearly. Plus, there was a great part of me saying, ooh, I don't know.
What? Jamie, what?
You can't die here.
Oh.
For one thing, with everyone driving so quickly, even if I managed to pull to the shoulder before the acid got me, I still could have caused an accident.
That's smart.
It was more of an instinct.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wound up in this tiny town, speed limit 30, which felt like crawling after all that time doing 90 plus. I guess I was hoping for another covered gas station where I could maybe, I don't know, plug the hole up with foil and hope that it held up for like a few more miles. But there was only one station along the road and it was open air. And that dripping was getting worse. I could smell the melted fabric of the seat. So I decided priority one was to find cover.
How?
You won't like the next part.
Oh, because before now it's been a real gas.
I was inching down this little country road looking for another gas station, but it was all just fields. And then I saw this weird angular metal structure. It was like a little taller than a person, kind of person shaped, but all the lines had corners, sort of like a cross between a human and an insect, like a praying mantis. And then I saw another. And another.
No. This is so cursed. This could not be more cursed if there was like a literal witch hurling curses at you.
And then they started to get bigger until they were maybe 9 feet, 10 feet tall. And there was a whole flock of them, like a crowd of steel origami scarecrows. And then I realized they were all positioned to cluster around this one barn.
Jamie, what?
And then I noticed that next to that barn was a farmhouse with a garage attached with the garage door open.
Okay, all right. I hate this.
Admittedly, there is an entire fairy tale about how you shouldn't do what I did.
More than one. Do you want to guess why?
Hospitality feels like a reoccurring motif, so maybe being an uninvited guest.
It's to teach people not to do that. Holy moly, if one of those metal statues starts to move, I am out of here. There will be a Malik-shaped hole in the wall. I'm gone.
I pulled into the garage, and that's when I noticed a couple of things. First, the leak was actually worse than I thought. My roof was wearing through in the back of the car, too. Second, that even if the tinfoil had been able to patch the car, I didn't have anything to stick it there. Third, that I was in a tiny, rural, and statistically speaking, conservative Nebraska town. And not only was I absolutely trespassing on a stranger's property, I was still wearing the clothes I'd had on when I first heard about the Banshees, which was jeans and my pride button down with all of the rainbows.
Oh my God.
And fourth, I said the garage was attached to the house, right? The door handle was starting to turn.
Jamie, if I've been talking to a ghost this whole time, I swear I won't be mad, but you've got to tell me.
The door opened and an older woman stepped out. She had gray hair, but she looked like very sturdy, very strong, holding what I thought was a fire extinguisher in one hand. And for a second, we just stared at each other. I was racking my brain trying to calculate how screwed I really was, trying to remember if I'd seen any Confederate flags in the area. I mean, you always hope no, and you think Nebraska wasn't even the Confederacy, but of course that doesn't always factor. And normally I keep a sharp eye out, but those statues had like sapped my focus, so I genuinely didn't know. I think my blood was mostly cortisol. And in that moment, I could not think of a single word.
Yeah, Jamie, I'm having trouble too.
This woman blinked at me, and then, I'm not kidding you, she said, "I love your shirt." And I exhaled for the first time in about 3 hours.
Oh my God, me too.
So she went and got her partner.
Wait, like partner? Partner?
They were lesbians, which I'm not speculating there. I know because they told me.
Yeah, that was not my main concern right now.
She got her partner, and then they introduced themselves, Cheryl and Valerie. Cheryl was from the area, and Valerie had moved there 3 years ago to be closer to family.
You know what this doesn't explain, though? The legion of creepy metal alien beings surrounding their house?
I'm getting there. So they let me use their bathroom, which was already a tremendous help, and we started chatting. They had been stuck inside all day, obviously, and had been planning on going shopping that morning. They were basically out of food. I still had some snacks in the car, and given that I was only about 3 hours from my dad, I offered them some.
Including the granola bar?
That was the thing they were most excited for, weirdly.
Wow. Okay. I need a second.
Mood whiplash, I know.
Mood whiplash. And also, I've never been a helpful folklore creature before. The music, the granola bar, I should have given you one more thing. It's all about the rule of threes. I should have given you an apple. Wait, my tips. I did it.
I told them a little about my trip and showed them the parts of my car that were wearing down. And I asked if I could borrow some duct tape to secure the foil and then just hope like hell that it lasts long enough to get me home.
That's a long... Oh, you mean Colorado?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I asked them for duct tape and then they both started laughing.
Okay, that feels like a bad sign.
And not just like a little, what did you say, a giggle? I mean a wild, crazy laugh, the kind you can't control. I'm not going to try to do it. No, you know what? I am. I'm going to try to do it. That was terrible. I didn't know what to do. So I started looking around at the garage, actually seeing what was on the shelves for the first time, and it was assorted parts like from all those statues from outside.
You were smack dab in the middle of their alien robot workshop, and they were about to melt your soul into one of those.
They were welders.
That was my second guess.
That was how they met. They were the only two women at an introductory welding class 10 years ago. What I thought was a fire extinguisher in Cheryl's hand was a welding torch. She'd been working on a piece to try to distract from, I don't know, let's say everything.
Okay, that is the cutest meet cute I've ever heard. But also, why those giant creepy bug people?
You know, I didn't ask.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either.
Their approach was to go to junkyards, buy up all the scrap metal, and stick it together in ways they found pleasing.
Eco-friendly giant creepy bug people. I guess that beats the alternative.
Up close and no longer panicking, I could see that the parts on the shelves were made of forks and old hubcaps, shit like that. They explain that they'd been selling the statues for a few years, mostly to private collectors. They just like to leave them outside for a while first to get an even layer of weathering. Reading between the lines, their pieces were actually very expensive.
Huh. Wait a sec. You didn't need duct tape. You could just ask them to reseal your car. That's why they were laughing.
The problem was when they got themselves under control, they explained that they had just run out of scrap metal. I realized the only way they could patch up my car was if they destroyed something they'd already made. And I didn't think I could ask them to do that for free. And I only had a few bucks left in my wallet, which felt almost more offensive than, hey, will you tear apart your own work for nothing?
I feel like I would have taken the win. That's not true. I would have stayed a million miles away.
And if this had been a horror film, you would absolutely have survived.
Well, we can't always know what genre we're in when we're in it.
Truer words. So I was standing there looking at the two of them, trying to think of some way I could repay them enough to justify what I was about to ask for. And then it hit me. I said, hey, how's your website? And I could tell just from their expression that I had a way in.
Ooh, bad?
Non-existent, as it turns out.
None is worse than bad. That's my guiding light when I'm working on a first draft.
They had been getting by entirely on word of mouth. So, thankfully, their Wi-Fi was still up. First, I sent a quick message to my dad. Then I Googled banshees and learned that in real life, they don't cause death. They're a bad sign, and that's it. I checked the local news to make sure nothing terrible had happened recently in Northeast Colorado, and then I pulled up that site I made for Riley M's jewelry.
Kids, let this be a PSA. Keep your portfolio current. You never know when your literal life, might depend on it.
It took them an hour and a half to dismantle the head of one of their sculptures, and in that time, I threw them together a decent little site. Nothing too fancy, but they had some good pictures of their shit, so I did a gallery and an about section and contact info, and meanwhile, they welded a bunch of metal to the top of my car. More than I'd had before, actually. So they figured they'd give me some extra wiggle room in case the rain got worse. Cutlery and old car parts and a few layers of old baking sheets. It looked, I sent you a picture. I can't describe it.
Ooh, looking now. Wow.
Malik, how would you put that into words?
Sort of like if Optimus Prime coughed up a bunch of hairballs and then smashed them all together.
Yeah. So I did a quick Google to make sure there hadn't been any banshees screaming closer to my dad's house, and then I got back on the road.
Okay, wait, can we pause to appreciate retired lesbian welders in rural Nebraska just when you needed someone with a blowtorch and metal expertise?
I think maybe I should say, for the record, that I don't believe in God or fate.
Yeah, nobody who knows you is laboring under that delusion.
I think saying, oh, they were angels, they were my guardian angels, is the easy way out. Plus, again, I don't think we've encountered a scrap of evidence to suggest that angels exist.
Yet.
To run into them exactly when I needed them, I think it was so staggeringly unlikely. If there are a million different universes, this is almost certainly the only one where that happened. And to put it bluntly, I don't know how many universes there are where I made it through alive, or at least without massive acid burns on most of my skin. I think as humans, our minds tend to shy away from numbers like that. We don't want to think about how some models say there are 200 billion trillion stars in our universe. In this reality, 200 billion trillion.
Full honesty, that number feels made up.
Is 200 sextillion better?
No, it is not.
My point is, huge numbers, tiny probabilities. We weren't made to comprehend them. Our brains just were not designed to do it. And in the face of that, in the face of how staggeringly unlikely it is that we exist at all, let alone that I could drive from Chicago to Colorado with acid pouring down from the sky, that I could take that detour and find Cheryl and Valerie, we try to invent meaning, to say it happened for a reason, that it was meant to be. And I don't believe it means anything except that I'm lucky. It was astonishing, and it was meaningless, and here I am. It isn't comfortable to think that way, but I think there are rewards to allowing your brain to be uncomfortable sometimes. I think it's better for the world.
I agree with that last part, at least.
I put in another mix, which was the one with all the cover songs.
Oh, yeah.
It was delightful. By the time I was half an hour from home, the rain had completely cleared. It was bright out, sunny.
Was there a rainbow? An acid rainbow?
I didn't check.
Oh, okay.
I pulled up the driveway, rang the doorbell, and there was my dad. And obviously we hugged, and he told me how glad he was to see me, and I told him how glad I was to see him. And we hugged again, and then he glanced over my shoulder at the car and said, "What the heck is that?" Which is how I learned that the acid rain actually missed Colorado completely. Nobody here had even heard about it, and it has not showed up since.
No. So your car looks like it's covered in Transformers vomit for no reason?
It did buy me some time, but yeah, Cheryl and Valerie, they did go slightly overboard.
And your dad was fine.
I would have come out anyway, though. If it hadn't been Banshees, it would have been something else.
And him being the only person in that house.
Even if he wasn't, I still would have come.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I left how I did, but I'm not sorry I left. Or, I'm sorry I left, but I'm not sorry I'm here.
Of course.
If I could be two places at once, I would be. And it's just until things get a little less,
I know. I'm sorry about how I said goodbye. And for the record, your plants aren't dead.
Really?
They're not all dead. The fiddly fig is not going to perk up, I don't think, but we got everything else looking pretty green again.
We?
Me and Riley are, who may genuinely have magic plant powers. Turns out the problem was I was overwatering everything. Let's not dwell on that as a metaphor for my life. So Riley had to basically give your orchid mouth to mouth, but yeah, it did work in the end, much to my amazement.
Well, thank you. Thank you both.
Not a problem. All right, so what have we learned today?
Milk and baking soda are basic, but use sudsy water.
Keep your work portfolio up to date at all times. Banshees are mere harbingers. The total number of stars in our universe is what feels like an extremely made-up number. Nothing means anything, and weather patterns are weird.
Also, you can bring plants back from the brink if you've got the right attitude and you know what you're doing.
And if you're like part wood nymph.
Wait, is Riley?
That was a joke. I mean, was it funny? No. Was it a confusing thing to say when wood nymphs could turn out to be real tomorrow? Absolutely. Do I regret it? You can't live in the past. That's what I say. Yet.
Should we end this?
Yes, please.
This is Jamie.
And Malik.
Signing out.
We know things are getting weirder every day, but we hope you're baseline, and we wish you all a better tomorrow.
And even when it's ashes, there'll be part of me that wishes we could stay.
Jamie and Malik are played by Hilary Williams and Michael Turrentine.
This episode was written by Jessica Best.
Directed and edited by Jeffrey Nils Gardner.
Our show art is by Carly Fairbanks.
And our bangin' theme song is Falling in Love at the End of the World by Olivia and the Lovers.
World Gone Wrong is produced and created by Jeffrey Nils Gardner and Eleanor Hyde.
This is a production of Audacious Machine Creative.
The Fable and Folly Network, where fiction producers flourish.
Hello, Eleanor here, and I am here to talk about the wonderful new fiction podcast, 2000 and Late. 2000 and Late is a new fiction podcast from the creator of The Bright Sessions. It is a dark comedy that grapples with the havoc of our current moment and tries to find the hope inside of it. The show follows Harper, a 36-year-old nihilist whose life is upended when she's possessed by a demon hell-bent on bringing about the apocalypse. But Harper doesn't want to end the world, and the demon gives her more power than she's ever had in a very long time, so Yeah. I'm loving this show. It's sharp and funny, and it's a cathartic release from the anger and impotence I often feel about the dumpster fire of a world we are all living in these days. It's unapologetically angry, surprisingly tender, and deeply entertaining. I think that 2000 and Late is ideal for fans of Fleabag or Killing Eve, Jennifer's Body, Yellow Jackets, Venom. So, yeah, let's go create some havoc. Oh, and also, Jeffrey worked on this. Jeffrey is the sound designer, and that's also really cool. So please go check out 2000 and Late wherever you listen to podcasts.